Okay, welcome ourselves in the name of Jesus. We will finish the book of Ruth that we started reading some days ago. We're in the last chapter, chapter 4, verse 1. We talked about, to summarize the story, we talked about this lady who followed her mother in law. There was a woman, a man, and his wife, and they had two sons. They were in Israel when there was famine, no rain for many years, crop were not growing, food was scarce, so they packed up their load. They moved to a city of idol worshippers. They stayed there and they gave their sons to marry to the daughters of the land, idol worshipping girls, to marry their son. And Jesus, who is God, at the time of Moses, he said, in this land I give to you, this promised land, you should not marry them, not give your daughters to their sons, the people, these idol worshippers, to marry, and don't let your sons marry them. If not, they will corral them, they will make them serve idols. It must never happen. Marry from your tribe, from Israel. Marry fellow worshippers of God that will not lead you astray. So they went to this idol worshipping land, and their sons married idol worshipping girls. So after some time, the man died. After some time, his two sons died, leaving only his wife. The wife decided, one day she heard that Israel was now better, rain was falling, crops were good, life was better. She said, I'm already an old woman. There's no point staying in and dying in a foreign land. When I have family member, still have neighbors, people that know me, that if anything happens, they will take care of me. Let me go back to my land, to my country, to my God. So she told her two daughter-in-law, she said, see, you've been good to me, but please go back to your father and your mother. Go and marry, have children. Don't stay and die as old women. You deserve better life. So, but the two girls say, no, we'll never leave you. She continued to beg them till one of them, whose name was Oprah, said, okay, I am going back. She kissed her mother-in-law, hugged her, and then she left. Then the other daughter-in-law named Ruth said, where you go, I will go. Where you die, I will die. Your people will be my people. I am not going to go back to my home. I've forgotten every other person, my God, everything. You're my only family member. So they came to Israel poor with nothing. They had no food to eat. And the law of Israel back then was and they came during harvest. The law of Israel was during the harvest. When you're harvesting corn, let's use corn as an example. You must not let all the stock, you must not make sure that you pack every pieces of corn. Anything that falls on the ground, you must leave it, so that the widows can come to the farm and pick one, two, three corn stalks and cook it, grind it, and use it to eat, make it food. Because some people will not be ready to give charity, but it was the law that God's made to help poor people, especially those who cannot beg, to have a dignified way of getting food to eat. So this Ruth, the mother-in-law, because she had been with these Israelites, so she must have known that this is their law. She went to the farm looking for pieces of corn that fell to pick and take to the house to make as food. Then while she was doing this, there was a man who saw her saying, who is she? Who is this girl? What is she doing? And everybody told her she's Ruth that came from that idol worshipping country, taking care of her mother. And he was impressed. He was like, okay, if you go to another place, they may harass you, but I've told my men servants not to harass you, but the women that are working here to take care of you. If they are eating, follow them to eat. They are drinking water, drink the water they drink, feel free, you'll be protected. So she was there. And then he gave her, he told his servant to leave a lot of corn for her to pick. And when she went to her mother-in-law, the mother was like, I know that people will pick corn from the floor in Israel, when they're harvesting. But you came with so many, like it was deliberately left for you. Then she told the woman, I met a nice man. He was the owner of the farm. She said, who was his name? She mentioned his name, Boaz. And Naomi, the mother-in-law of Ruth, knew that he was her kinsman. So she was happy. She was like, this is a good man, always go to his field. He's our nearest kinsman. Kinsman means family member, relative, maybe cousin son, uncle, one thing or the other, uncle's son, uncle's whatever. He's anyhow related to us. He's a very close family member. So she was like, you're lucky, continue going there. Then one day, Naomi said, "My daughter Ruth, I should seek peace and rest for you because you've been good to me." So she said, when they are drinking, they are getting drunk, rejoicing during towards the end of the harvest, go at night, dress up, perfume yourself, go and lie down. Look at where he's going to lie down in the harvest, upon the sheaves and everything, the thing they've gathered to harvest. Lie down there under his feet. And when he wakes up, this and this and this is what you're going to say to him. So Ruth did as her mother-in-law commanded. And when he woke up, he was scared. And she said, "My name is Ruth. I am Ruth. I am your family member, the daughter-in-law of Naomi. You are supposed to be the nearest family member. Spread your skirt, your covering, your garment. Use your garment to cover me." What it meant was cover my shame, cover the shame of your family member who is my dead husband. In those days, we talked about it that when a man died, his brother would take over his wife, and when they have the first child they have will bear the name of the dead husband, and any other children they have will bear the name of the current husband, have the inheritance of the current husband. So, and if the dead man does not have an inheritance, maybe he lost it, the the new husband had to give an inheritance to his first son, who is not going to be bearing his name, who's going to be bearing the name of the first husband. So it wasn't tradition, and many of them really wanted to perform, but that was the way God made sure to keep dead people's name alive. And so a particular tribe, a particular family will not be wiped away. And if they don't have a brother, it will go to the uncle. Responsibility could go to the uncle, the nephew, whoever is the nearest male family member, be it a cousin or a nephew or an uncle. That was the law to help to make sure that the family line is not wiped out. So he said what it meant by cover your skirt was to cover me, cover my shame, do your role as a kinsman. And the man was like, what you did, you had the option to run after young men, but you chose to, follow the tradition of God to preserve your husband's name instead of running off with young men who will not care about inheritance, who are not related to the family. So he said, but there is another family member who is closer. I am your family member. I'm supposed to do this, to marry you and raise a name, a child for your dead husband. But there's another family member who is closer to me, who has to do this first. And if he doesn't agree, then I will do it. So now we're in verse 4. That's how far we've gone in the story. Verse 4. Then after he finished, verse 3. After he finished speaking to her, he said, very early in the morning, go back home. Don't let anybody see you. She went back home and she waited according to her mother-in-law's instruction. Verse 4. Then went Boaz is the man involved here. Then went Boaz up to the gate and sat him down there. And behold, the kinsman of whom Boaz spoke came by, unto whom he said, Ho, such a one, turn aside, sit down here. And he turned aside and sat down. And he took 10 men of the elders of the city and said, sit ye down here. And they sat down. And he said unto the kinsman, Naomi that is come again out of the country of Moab, selleth a parcel of land which was our brother's Elimelech's. And I thought to advertise thee, saying, buy it before the inhabitants and before the elders of my people. If thou will redeem it, redeem it. But if thou will not redeem it, then tell me that I may know. For there is none to redeem it beside thee, and I am after thee. And he said, I will redeem it. Now what he was saying here was this. We said that the dead man, the next, maybe the brother, the cousin, or the uncle, or the relation has to marry the dead man's wife if he doesn't have a brother next to him. But alongside marrying him, he has to take the inheritance, the land. If the dead person have inheritance, he will take the inheritance, but he must give it to the son that we have with the dead man's wife. So Boaz, that's rich kind man, was saying, okay, he met the nearest relative that was near to him. He said, sit down here, let's have a meeting. Then in those days, when there are elders, when there's a problem, they look for elders, and usually there are elders that sit at the gates of the city That was if you need to find wise men. The wise men usually sat at the gate of the city. So he went to the gate of the city and he saw elders, the wise men of the land. He said, please, you people to come and sit down here. They all came. Judge this matter for us. So he said, the dead man, Naomi's husband, lineage, has a land to sell. And the law of God is also that, because when God told Moses to divide the land of Canaan and give to the 12 tribes of Israel, God said, I have given, for example, let's say we have the tribe of Judah, we have the tribe of Naphtali. So God allocated, let's say, land in the east belongs to, let's use Africa. Let's say every land in East Africa belonged to Judah, right? The tribe of Judah. And every land in North Africa belonged to the tribe of Naphtali. But God say, you people must not cross boundary. It doesn't matter if you from the east in Eastern Africa, you have a problem, financial problem. You are not allowed to sell the land in East Africa to somebody in North Africa. The person in North Africa, even though you are all brothers, you're all children of the same ancestor, it doesn't matter. It must not happen. I've divided it. You must not cross boundary. You are to marry each other. You are holy people. You are to whatever, but you are not to sell land. You in this Northern Africa, for example, Naphtali, you are not to sell your land, no matter the problem you have. If you have financial problem, you are to look for your brother. My brother, I am broke. I don't have money. I have land to sell. Will you buy it? Buy it. If your brother will not buy it for you, or you don't have anyone to buy it from you as your brother, you look for a cousin, or you look for a uncle, or you look for, if you don't have uncle, you don't have brother, you don't have cousin, then you look for someone in your tribe to buy the land, because God said, I have divided the land for your tribe. It must not go out of your tribe. If you don't have uncle, which is possible, your father or your mother don't have brothers and sisters, you don't have brothers and sisters, you don't have cousin, then you must look for someone from your tribe, so that the land continues to remain in that tribe. If you have a daughter, you don't have whatever, if she's marrying, because God also protected women. He said if she's marrying and there's no uncle, no father, whatever, that will take over the land goes to her. She must marry somebody from the tribe. That way the land does not go out of the tribe. If she does not, she will forfeit it. If she does not want to marry from the tribe and the land belongs to her as her inheritance, since her father does not have a male child, it means that she is forfeiting rights to the land. God, do we have to look for, okay, in the tribe, who is the nearest person in the tribe? Since she doesn't have uncle, father, uncle, auntie, they will look for somebody from the tribe that will inherit the land, because it must not go out. So she's free to marry from another tribe in Israel, but she cannot take the inheritance and give it to her husband from another tribe, because it must not cross. So that was the reason why this kinsman, this family member, Boaz, had to tell the other man. He said, Naomi is selling land. We are the nearest relative. I want to buy the land, but you are near closer in family line to her husband than I. So you buy the land. If you don't buy the land, I will buy it. If you buy it, so be it. So the man say, land, I will buy it. I will redeem it from her hand. I will give her money for it. I will buy the land so it remain in the family line. Then he said, good. Then he said, verse he said, but that's not all. Verse 5. Boaz said, what day thou buy the field of the land hand of Naomi, thou must buy it also of Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up name of the dead upon his inheritance. And the kinsman, verse 6 said, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar my own inheritance. Redeem thou my rights from thyself, for I cannot redeem it. Boaz said, okay, that's very good that you buy the land. Redeem it means to buy. So since you buy the land, that's very kind of you. But you know the law. When you buy the land, you're also buying other things the dead man have, including his wife. Which means she will become your wife. Ruth will become your wife. And the man, that other family member, knew the law very well. That his first child cannot bear his name, cannot be his child. So if he's unlucky and he only have one son, unfortunately, the son belongs to the dead man, answers the dead man's name, cannot answer his own inheritance. He has to look for another son or pass over his inheritance to his cousin or nephew or uncle or whoever. If he has only girls after that son, too bad. Lucky for him, he still have children. The daughter has to look for someone in the lineage, in the family, in the tribe to marry. If he has no daughter and that's his only child, it means that's it. He has nobody to pass on his name to. He passes inheritance to the nearest person in his family. So the Bible says it. He said, if I buy it and I have to marry Ruth, well, I have to give up my child. As the child may still live with him, but the child cannot be identified as his. It means he said I will spoil my own inheritance. I will have to sell my inheritance to somebody else. I cannot. No. He said, Boaz, I cannot buy it. You buy it. Because I don't want to spend my inheritance. I don't want to give up my first child. I don't want to. So you're also a kinsman. If you're willing to, please buy it. So Boaz said in verse 7. Okay, the word of God says in verse 7 in the book of Ruth chapter 4 verse 7. Now this was the manner, custom, a tradition in the former time in Israel concerning redeeming and concerning changing, for to confirm all things, to confirm agreement, transaction, a man plucked off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor, and this was a testimony in Israel. Verse 8. Therefore the kinsman said to Boaz, buy it for thee, buy it for yourself. So he took off his shoe. Verse 9. And Boaz said unto the elders and unto the people, ye are witness this day that I have bought all that was Ahimelech, that is the father-in-law of Ruth, and all that was Chilon, and Malon, off the hand of Naomi. Verse 10. Moreover, Ruth the Moabite, Boaz is talking, Ruth the Moabite, the wife of Malon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren, and from the gates of his place. Ye are witnesses this day. Now, it was saying that in the time of Israel, in the olden days, their custom was, now we have written agreements. If we make an agreement to deal with somebody, you write, you sign, he signs, there's a witness, everybody signs. But in those days, nobody was signing. So when somebody wants to prove an agreement, if Mr. A made an agreement with Mr. B, Mr. B is buying something from Mr. A. Mr. B wants to make sure that Mr. A will not say, I didn't sell him that thing, he stole it from me. It's not, I didn't give it to him. Mr. A will remove his shoe from any part of his leg, I think. Mr. A will remove his shoe, any part of his shoe, left or right shoe, and he will give it to Mr. B. It's like a witness, it's like signing. So if Mr. A ever wake up and say, I didn't give it to him, he's lying. Mr. B will say, oh, so how do I have your shoe? This is the form of agreement that if I buy something from you and something I know that you can change your mind on, and I have your shoe. This is a witness, a proof that you made an agreement with me. So that was the olden days tradition, the way they used to sign back then. So what I say, sure, that if I buy this thing, becomes my own. The man say, yes, buy it. I don't want to redeem it. I don't want to buy it. I don't want to spoil my own inheritance, the money and things I have. So Boaz said, good. Everybody, you're a witness. The man, the other family member, removed his shoe and gave it to Boaz, the one who wanted to marry Ruth. So that man, Boaz, took it and said, see the shoe. You are a witness, everybody. You are a witness. Today, I have bought the land. Together with the land, I have bought the wife of the dead man. And the inheritance, whatever child I have with my new wife, who is the wife of Malon, the dead man, Naomi's son, the child will bear the name of Ruth, dead husband. This land will go to when the child is of age, the child will have the land as his property in the name of the dead husband of Ruth. I will not take the land as my own. I will not use it. That's what it means. He cannot, even if he needs money at any time, he cannot sell the land. It does not belong to him. His son does not belong to him. Whatever thing the child has does not belong to him. It's all in the name of the dead husband of Ruth. It was a big deal. So he said today that the dead may not be forgotten, that the dead may be remembered. When they see the body child that Ruth will have with him, they'll say, oh, this is the son of Malon, that dead man. The man will not be forgotten. His name, the name of his father, will continue to exist in the tribe of Israel. So he said, everybody has seen that I have bought this is a testimony. So verse 10, we've read verse 10. Verse 11, and all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, we are witness. The Lord make the woman that is coming into their house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel, and do thou worthily in Ephrathah, and be famous in Bethlehem. Verse 12. And let thy house be like the house of Pharez, whom Tamar bare unto Judah, of the seed which the Lord shall give thee of this young woman. The elders said, we have seen, we are witness. And they blessed him. They say, may Ruth that sent you into your house be as Rachel. Rachel and Leah were the two wives that Jacob married, Laban's daughters, who gave birth. They and their maid servants gave birth to what we know as the 12th tribe of Israel. They say, may God make you blessed like Rachel and Leah. Make Ruth blessed like that. May she have children. Fill your house with children. May your house be famous. May you be known. May you be honored. May your house be the house of Pharez. Pharez was one of the sons of the tribe of Judah, Jacob's sons, one of Jacob's grandsons, who was well known. He said, may God make your children and your house like this, house of the grandsons of Jacob. One of the first direct grandsons of Jacob. So, verse 13, Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. And when he went into her, the Lord gave her conception, and she bare a son. And the women said unto Naomi, blessed be the Lord, which has not left thee this day without a kinsman, that his name may be famous in Israel. So Boaz married Ruth, and she became his wife. And they say God opened her womb, and she gave birth to a son. And the women, the neighbors around Naomi, said, God had blessed thee. They blessed the name of God. They say, blessed be God that remembered you until your daughter-in-law raised up a seed, grandchild, that will continue the name of your sons and the name of your husband, your dead husband and your dead sons. Verse 15. They say, may his name be famous in Israel. Verse 15. And they were continuing to praise the child. They say, and he shall be unto thee a restorer of thy life, and a nourisher of thy old age. For thy daughter-in-law, which loved thee, which is better to thee than 7 sons, has borne him. And Naomi took the child, and laid it in her bosom, and became nurse to it. And the women, her neighbors, gave it a name, saying, there is a son born to Naomi. And they called his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David. The child that Ruth gave birth to, he was the grandfather of David, also known as Prophet Dawood by the other religion. He was the grandfather of David. He gave birth to Obed, who gave birth to David, Prophet Dawood. So you see, they said Naomi took the child. The neighbors say, blessed are you. This your daughter-in-law that loved you more than anything. She's better than 7 sons. Some sons will forget their mother. She's not even related to you, but she loved you so much. She has comforted you. May God bless her, bless your children. Naomi took the child and took care of the child and named him Obed. Obed, who is the father of Jesse, who is the father of David, Prophet David. Verse 18 is history about the family line of David. And these are the generation of Pharez. They were tracing the line of the family from the time of Abraham. And Abraham gave birth to Isaac. And Isaac had two children. But we are not talking about Esau. We're talking about now the 12th child of Israel that came from Jacob, who is the younger son of Isaac, who is the son of Abraham. And Abraham gave birth to Isaac. And Isaac gave birth to Jacob. And Jacob had 12 sons. And one of the sons was Judah. The 12th son was Judah. And Judah gave birth to Perez, a son named Perez. And that Perez gave birth to a son named Hezron. You know, in the Bible, they only count the line of the first children. There could be many children in the lineage. But if you have 5 brothers, the Bible will only record the history of the 5 brothers. If your first brother, his name is if your first brother's name is Issachar and your second brother name is Abednego, the Bible will not may mention Abednego only if he did something very remarkable. If not, the Bible will only talk about Issachar. Because if the Bible had to mention all your 5 brothers and all the children they have, they kept record in those days. So everything the Bible have clear record. It's not like somebody told me and somebody told the person that told me and somebody told that person that told me that told me that told me that told me. No, there were clear records, and they could trace their record from the time of Abraham, and they could trace their record from the time of Abraham's father, from the time of the father of Abraham, to the time of Noah, to the time of Adam. They had a clear, straight record. They did not miss. And Judah was one of the sons of Jacob. And he had a son. His son name was, I said they only mentioned the first son. So if you have 5 sons, they will only mention the first son you had and the son of the first son and the first son of that son and the first son like that. They will mention the daughters. They may mention that maybe he also had 5 daughters or 20 daughters, but they may not mention most of the time. It's only the generation of those first children, because those were the most important to God. So now, Abraham, interesting fun fact, Abraham was a Syrian. He was from Syria. How many people know it? Many people don't know. And yet Syrians hate Israelis, but they are brothers. Abraham migrated from Syria. His father was from Syria. Oh, Chadders. So you see sometimes the Bible say Abraham is Syrian, who moved down and came down and left the land to the promised land. They were brothers. Syrians are brothers with Israelis. They never know. So now let's focus on what we are focusing on, which is Abraham gave birth to Isaac. And Isaac gave birth to God. Isaac is the first son of Abraham. The other child did not matter, because he was not from the legal wife of Abraham. So Abraham gave birth to Isaac, and Isaac gave birth to Jacob. And Jacob, because Esau lost his birthright, Esau was supposed to be listed as the first son. But since he sold his birthright for porridge, Jacob, before God, is now the first son of Isaac. So Jacob gave birth to other children. The first son of Jacob, whose name is Reuben, lost his birthright because he did something very bad. He slept with one of the concubines of his father. So his father disowned him. He lost his right to be called the first son. He was lucky to still be called a son. So he lost his right. So because of that, the other brother was listed as the first son, who is Judah. And Judah became Pharez, gave birth to Pharez. And Pharez gave birth to Hezron. And Hezron gave birth to a child named Ram. And Ram gave birth to a child named Aminadab. And Aminadab gave birth to a child named Nahshon. And Nahshon gave birth to a child named Salmon. And Salmon begat a child named Boaz, who is the husband of Ruth. And Ruth gave birth to Obed, which he gave birth to on behalf of the dead husband of Ruth. And Obed gave birth to Jesse. And Jesse gave birth to David, prophet Dawood. And Jesus came through that lineage. Joseph, the husband of Mary, was the adopted father of Jesus. You remember, Jesus was not born through human relationship, but his adopted father was Joseph, and Joseph was from the line of David. David's child gave birth to another child, gave birth to another child that gave birth to Joseph, the husband of Mary, who gave birth to Jesus. It was a beautiful story. A woman from an idol worshipping country gave her life, sacrificed all her supposed honor in a land of idolatry, her family, her friends, to become like a beggar in the land of Israel, to serve a god that her husband served or her husband's family served, to serve a god, humbled herself, became nothing, became a nobody, became had to, the kingdom of Moab was powerful. They were a big nation. So she left a big nation that other countries look up to be begging. Not begging, picking up corn like a slave, like a nobody, honoring her, that woman, sacrificing the same way God left his great throne, came down to earth, and left everything, became like a nobody, a carpenter on earth. He didn't choose the best profession. He could have been a scribe, a scholar. He's God. He could have been a high priest. He's God. He didn't choose any of them. He didn't even choose to be a warrior, a general. He chose to be a carpenter. The other day I was laughing to myself, talking about how God, people would have come to God, Jesus, because they did not know and say, make table for me. I don't like the color of this table. Turn it like this. They are talking to the Most High, giving him order. Oh, I will give you more business. If you do this for me, reduce, give me discount. Then I'll introduce you to many of my friends. You will make money. And Jesus would probably laugh. I own the world, the riches in the heavens and the earth. I give. If I should open the windows of heaven, money, everything you want will come. Yet a person will say, Jesus, I will introduce you to my friends. Give me discounts. I will give you money. I like the way you work. I think you're a good young man. I will, I will give you more contracts, let it be the first time we'll do more business together. To the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And he did this work for 30 years, staying with us, eating with us. He could have died early. He could have, after he grew up, and sacrificed himself as fast as possible and gone back to the throne. But he wanted to be with man, Emmanuel. He wanted to eat with us. He wanted to, he created us, but he wanted to observe his creature. And he walked with me, and he talked with me, and he said we are his own. There's a song like the Jesus walked with us upon the earth. He talked with us. He ate with us. He slept. He was tired because he put himself in a human body. He felt human emotions. Jesus cried when one of his best friends died. Jesus slept. Jesus was tired. How can God be tired? God cannot be tired. But he allowed himself to feel human emotion. He was tired. He rested. The only human emotion he didn't feel was immorality, lust. But other human emotion, he ate. He was tired. He was hungry. He needed rest. He walked. He earned. The God of heaven earned. He probably bring home some money from making his stools and tables and say, Mother, I earned this. Maybe buy some soup. The God of heaven was the lowest of the low. He took low profession. He was nothing for 30 years. Eating and working with us, we never knew. He wanted to spend time with us, so he didn't rush his death. He spent time with mankind. He sacrificed his place. It didn't mean that heaven was empty. Unlike man, he's omnipresent. He can be here and be there. He was everywhere at the same time, but he was with us in that flesh, in that body. We talked to God. We worked with God. Those people that were alive, not we were not alive then. They worked with God. They talked to God. They probably made fun of God. Maybe if something happened, maybe they quarreled with Mary. You did Jesus. You know that you're not. We're even sure that your mother was a prostitute, because when they gave birth to you, we knew when she got pregnant. Suddenly got pregnant, and they've not even finished the marriage. We know that your mother was not a good woman. They must have mocked Jesus. They must have done things to Jesus. People that didn't like Mary, maybe her neighbors that quarreled with her, people that quarreled with her, they must have done a lot of things to the Most High. He didn't smite them dead. He didn't smite them blind. He ignored it. He endured all. He sacrificed. Ruth sacrificed like Jesus sacrificed. Gave up everything. and God rewarded her. And Jesus ascended, put off this body of flesh, of sin. He took a body of flesh, corruptible body, inferior theophany, and he became as nothing before God, before us humans. And Ruth humbled herself. God said, if we humble ourselves, he will exalt us up. Does that mean we will never suffer? We may still suffer. But at the end of time, if, like I said earlier in the other book of Revelation we read, if it's our destiny to suffer till the end, well, so be it. The thing is, our suffering here on earth has end. Our enjoyment in heaven is indefinite, it has no end. And our suffering, if we fail to serve God and we go to hell, also has no end. Unlike here on earth, there is an end to all things. So Ruth suffered and God rewarded her in the end. So today we talk about her. She's blessed. From her lineage came Jesus. Mary married the son of David, son of Ruth. We trace it down. God gave her an honorable position in history. When men were talked about, she had a place among men, among greatest of men. The question is, what can we sacrifice for God? And also, aside from God, what good can we do to our fellow man? What good do we do? It doesn't mean we have to follow our mother-in-laws. If you have a dead husband, follow your mother-in-law wherever she goes. What good can you do? What can you sacrifice? What can you do that people remember of you? But also remember that goodness without God is nothing. We may be good and we may do a lot of good things upon the earth, but at the end, God said, get away from me. But God, I did good. Yeah, you did good. But if you do good and you forget the Most High God, your good counts as nothing, because you have known the truth, except you have not known the truth about Jesus. But if you have known the truth about Jesus, then your goodness profit nothing. If you've never heard of Jesus, nobody has told you Jesus, but you're just living a good life, that's a different thing. God will judge you by your conscience. God will judge you because you never had the opportunity to learn about Jesus. But if you have heard of Jesus, you had the opportunity to use technology to learn more about Jesus, to Google more about Jesus. You never used it. You allowed yourself to enjoy this temporary life that you have. How many years? 80? 100 years? How many years of life do you get to live? And you know Jesus, and you choose short term for eternity of suffering. God will judge you by what you know. You cannot say I am ignorant. No, you cannot plead ignorance because you are aware. You are very aware of Jesus. You have a choice to Google. You have a choice to download the Bible. You have a choice to read for yourself. You have a choice to find out for yourself and to say, okay, I don't want to listen to anybody tell me about Jesus. I want to see if this Jesus is actually a true God or not. You have the opportunity to read in your language, to find out for yourself about this Jesus, to be convinced. And if you are sincere, the Holy Spirit will direct you to what is true and what is not true, even if you have nobody to tell you, because you want to learn by yourself. Paul, the later apostle of Jesus, he did not meet Jesus, but he believed there was a prominent man who spread the gospel to non-Jews. And after God healed his sight, God blinded him, when he was going to crucify, to catch Christians, to kill them for the Jews and the high priest, and he was healed. He went into the wilderness. He went to go and study this thing people said. He went to read their books. He went to learn about Jesus, the miracles, the story they told. Then he went to one of the brothers, the sons of Mary, mother of Jesus. Then he went to Peter. Those were few people he went to. Then he went alone. He said, God, I want to really understand. I am a Jew. I believe in God. I respect God. I love God. That's why I'm killing Christians. But you see, these things they're telling me, there's something different. I want to believe it's true. I've seen the power of God, but I need to know it for myself. I don't want anybody to tell me this. They've given me their testimony, but God, I want to find you for myself. So if you do not want anybody, because there are so many fake pastors out there are so many fake Christians, Jesus, they can mislead you, they can deceive you, and you be a Christian and you're not a Christian. You're just like someone that have never believed. So it's okay to take the Bible for yourself and read it for yourself and learn it for yourself. and understand it for yourself. And if God see that you are sincere, he will meet with you and explain it to you and show you. And when Paul, that later disciple of Jesus, was convinced, he came back to the church. He went to the church. He said, nobody taught me. God taught me myself. I am convinced. I believe. And he was ready to die for what he believed. He was ready to leave behind his prominent position among the Jews, among the high priest. He was ready to be pursued like a common thief by those people who used to respect him when he speak. Everybody, because of how powerful he was to the Jews before the high priest, everybody would be afraid of him. But he was ready to be the lowest of the lowest among those people in his former circle. Can say, kill that Paul, and people will obey. Disrespect him, can spit on him in public, and he cannot jail them. He because of Jesus, he cannot exercise anger. He cannot be angry. He bear it. He will clean his face and walk away with humility because he had met Jesus. That man would have been torn to pieces in the past if they met the former Paul, but they met the new Paul. He had become like Jesus. Jesus was gentle. Jesus was forgiving. Jesus said, if they slap you, turn the other side. Do you need my other cheek? Please slap it. If you feel free, exercise your hand. Is that not foolishness? It seems like foolishness, but Jesus is not foolish. Jesus said, if somebody take advantage of you, let them take advantage of you. God will justly reward them. If they do you harm and they are dying of hunger, give them food. Is it easy? Let them die. We want them to die. Hey, God, please let them hasten their death. You see, it's not easy. But the Bible says the way of the world is actually harder than we think. Living fast life, living, drinking, eating wine, doing witchcraft, doing all sorts of things is harder. You want to be like others. You want to keep up your lifestyle. You serve the devil. The devil keeps giving you more punishment. You are serving. You're doing your best. He keeps giving you things you cannot do. Kill your father. Kill your mother. Kill your brother. You killed your father. You kill your mother. Your brother. You have nobody near you. That new person now that you're with, kill him. Kill her. Do this. Do that. What will be enough, devil? I've given you my all. What again do you want me to give to you? I've given you everything that I'm empty. That was, I don't care. I was on my own. You said you wanted money. You wanted fame. You wanted power. Please, 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 please. If you don't do it, I kill you. Your life or theirs. You keep killing. You keep giving. You keep giving. You get nothing in return but death. You lose your eternal life. What will you give? But Jesus said, give. Maybe give up your life upon this earth. Suffer, suffer, suffer. It's so painful. It will never be easy. But in the end, you have something better. Upon this earth, you have nothing if you keep giving to the devil. He takes from you till you're empty. You're frustrated, you're pained, you're full of hate, you're full of anger. And there's nothing you can do about it. Paul gave up everything. He was insulted. He was humiliated. At the later end of his life, he was chained like an animal. They chained him in his... They allowed him to stay in an apartment, or they chained him. He couldn't go out. People came to visit him. Some Christians were even mocking him because he killed a lot of Christians before he believed. So people that have lost their father and mother, what kind of foolish Christian is he? He killed my mother and killed my father. I'm trying to forgive him. God, is not easy to forgive him. Now he's going up and down preaching, saying he's one of the biggest preachers. Who gave him position? Who made him a preacher? How dare him? Will he bring back my father and mother? Some of them will feel like stoning him, but for the sake of Jesus Christ, they don't stone him. But please, please let them kill him fast. Hey, you want to be a martyr? God, please hasten his martyr. Kill him fast. Let it avenge the blood of my Christian brother and father he shed. They were justified, maybe, but Jesus did not see what he did. Jesus saw a renewed man. Jesus transformed his life from somebody of wickedness to somebody who was ready. He said, I know when to be hungry. When I'm in a situation, because I'm preaching the gospel, I travel to a place where there's no food, there's nobody that will take me in, no shelter. I know when to be like a beggar, to be without food and to manage myself. I know how to enjoy myself when I meet with people that will open their home to me, give me food. I have work to do. He was also working when he was ministering. He was making tents. He said, I know when to enjoy when there's abundance. I know when God takes away the abundance, how to manage myself in different situations, to be cold, to be contented, to be happy, to be hot, to have the right energy heating, have the right clothing. Any situation, I adapt to that situation. I give thanks. He's now adapting. He left everything for God. And when you leave everything for God, Jesus will honor you. He suffered to the end, but now a crown of life awaits him. And when it was about to die, he knew, he felt the presence of death. He said, like we said, mentioned the last time, he said, I have fought the good fight. I have fought this fight of faith. The crown of life awaits me. I am ready to go. I'm ready to meet my Lord Jesus. Now I'm no longer going to wait. I'm willing. I am ready. I am eager to gain something worthwhile. You have to lose something worthwhile. Ruth lost everything. She gained more. The husband she married was not a rich, classy, respectable man in society. He was just Naomi's son. The husband she earned was a great man. She earned being the maternal ancestor of Jesus, of Prophet David, respectable people in the society. She earned it. She couldn't have earned it with her dead husband. She earned it because she was faithful to Naomi. She sacrificed. She lost a lot and gained a lot. You can't gain something important if you lose something not important. God said if you're afraid of losing your life, you will lose it. You don't want to die, you will die. And you keep dying, and you die with punishment in eternity. If you're ready to lose your life for God, you will gain it. But let's not deceive ourselves that it will be easy. Let's not deceive ourselves that it will be simple. It's easy to say, I give up. But like I say, without the grace of God, we will fail. When we disappoint God, we will disappoint ourselves. We cannot be the yardstick for other people. We can only be the yardstick for ourselves. Because even our own measurement of our goodness is nothing before God. It takes the mercy of God to raise us up. So we must not look at other people as people we should look up to. No, we should look up to Jesus. If the person we're looking up to is not the standard of Jesus, then we need to look at the standard of Jesus, because only Jesus can meet that standard, and only Jesus can help us to meet that standard. We may be seeing someone as good. We don't know what the person's secret sin is. We are not to judge, but we don't know what the person is privately, secretly struggling between him and God. So if we are looking at it, we would put ourselves down as we are not good enough. We can never be enough. But God knows our heart. God knows if we are enough. And if we are not enough, God, like that man said, Lord, help my unbelief. God can help our unbelief. God can help us to get to the standard, because he knows that by our own strength, we can never be enough. He's not looking for us to be enough by ourselves. If not, he will give us the law to fulfill. He's looking for us to try, and then for us to admit that we are not able to sufficiently pass the mark, the standard he has put. We need his help. We have tried. Now we need his help to attain. We cannot do it on ourselves. If we do not realize that we need his help to attain, we will never attain that mark. Paul said, I've pressed on to the mark. That mark of God, that standard of God, we need God to attain it. But we also need to put in an effort. Without an effort, faith without works is dead. Believing God without serving God, without living our life like Jesus, is nothing. You need to live your life like Jesus, and you need to have faith. You need the two of them to function. But we need to take a step. May Jesus Christ help us to take this step, to sacrifice something important. Was it David, when God was punishing children of Israel on his behalf? He said he went to sacrifice to God. The person that had the field and the things, the animal that he was going to use to sacrifice, because he is for sacrificing for God. Please take everything free, O king. He said, no, I will not give God what cost me nothing. It has to cost me something. I am king, I can have everything free, but it has to cost me something. It has to cost me something for it to be valuable before God. It has to cost us something, no matter how little. When Jesus was in the temple, as I finish round up, Jesus was in the temple with his disciples. They were giving what we call today offering. In the offering box in the temple, people were putting big money. There was this poor widow woman. She had, let's use dollar. Let's say the only money she had, people were putting $50, $500, $1,000, and the only money she had was, let's say, 50 cents. And she took her 50 cents and she dropped it. And Jesus said, wow. He said, do you know this woman that passed? She has put in money greater than every other person. They say, well, how much did she put? So she put in her 50 cents. We don't know the exact amount, but he mentioned she put in her 50 cents. Her last money. Everybody put in money that they can afford to do without. If they don't have that money, they can still survive. But that was all. It was her all. It was her greatest sacrifice. It was something that cost her something. She probably had no food to eat. She probably had nothing left after that. She gave her all to God. And God will give her more. He will reward her. He said she has given more than everybody there. It was the lowest amount. Before God, it was the highest amount. It was the biggest thing that anybody could give because it cost her something. It was her all. David said, I will not give to God what cost me nothing. I will not give to God free things. I will give him something that he would find valuable. May God help us to give him something that is valuable in our life, that we may receive something valuable in return by his mercy and by his grace at the end of the time and at the end of the world. In Jesus' name.